rollovers.
It's gone over quite well, isn't it?
Spills.
I think that must have been a bit of a bumpy ride.
Jackknives.
The fuel tank's actually ruptured at the front.
When a 40-ton truck crashes,
That's bottom right out on all three axles.
it causes chaos on our roads.
This is completely abnormal.
And moving these monsters takes a special kind of recovery worker.
I love my job, I do. No place in the world I'd rather be.
In this series, we go roadside with two of the UK's busiest recovery firms. In the Midlands, Crouch Recovery has been at the epicentre of the UK's road network for over 70 years.
He's got to get that loco off. He's got to get it back on the line.
And helping to keep London and the South East moving, family firm Lantern work around the clock on some of Britain's most dangerous traffic hotspots.
It's a redeemable situation.
These teams of recovery pros drive some of the most super heavyweight trucks in the world.
It was 117 tonne, you know, you want some proper kit to move it.
Keep coming, keep coming.
But striving to keep Britain's 300,000 strong trucking workforce safe is not a job for the faint-hearted.
This is the most dangerous time now when the cones are in.
As the teams battle to keep our roads open
Oh, I've got a sweat on!
against the odds.
It'll be all right in the end. And if it ain't all right, take the end.
Today, when a fully loaded HGV suffers a puncture on one of Britain's busiest motorways,
To fix it on the side of the road, it's just ridiculous, really.
Jim and Jack have got to act fast to prevent a serious accident
He knows he's running naughty, he knows he's illegal, he knows he's got a problem.
as they come face to face with a potentially lethal truck.
If you take away one of the airbags, the system doesn't work anymore. It's an accident waiting to happen.
Sean battles against the clock to recover a fully loaded fuel tanker off the M25.
There's so much that can go wrong. You do actually have people's lives in your hand.
And when Mary breaks down while towing a packed car transporter,
He's nearly hit us.
a simple recovery job turns into an 18-ton nightmare.
Stranded in lane 1 of a smart motorway. Not very smart.
In Leicestershire, it's morning rush hour, and the phones are ringing off the hooks.
Well, can they get a police officer to ring in?
With an average 300,000 recovery calls a year, company boss Adam can't afford to slow down.
We feel like we're the fourth emergency service because if there's a vehicle on the side of the motorway that wants moving, or we have to respond to that as all the other emergency services would.
But then a job comes through, which needs the assistance of one of the team's most powerful trucks. It appears that a fully loaded HGV has suffered a puncture shredding one of its tyres on the M6.
We are about 15 minutes away, so we are the closest asset to the job.
Looks like it should be a straightforward job, but this case is going to test veteran recovery op Jim's years of experience to the limit.
It's my first day back after my holiday. It's always a little bit of excitement. Everything was about the adrenaline when I was younger. I was a proper rock climbing junkie. So, get there, see what happens. Could be fun, maybe boring. We'll find out.
Ex-soldier Jim has been in the business for almost 2 decades and clocked up more than enough miles to get to the moon.
I know very little about the M6 job, but what I do know, quite simply, is it is a offside puncher on the trailer, and we're just going to go and move it.
As Jim arrives at the scene, a team from Highways England is diverting traffic away from the breakdown area. But as the HGV has been stranded on the hard shoulder overnight, Jim is on the clock to get it moved as quickly as he can. To help him on his mission is Jim's trusty Volvo FMX twin winch, 24-ton heavy recovery vehicle, capable of towing 33 tons. The driver of the stricken HGV claims it's loaded with 25 tons. So to help move the truck is heavy vehicle mechanic Jack Watson, one of the company's rising stars.
Let's club together, mate.
Jack is a new member of the crew, but he's worked as a mechanic since leaving school, and there's nothing he doesn't know about heavy goods vehicles. Jack has removed the shredded tyre. All he has to do to tow away the HGV is remove the wheel's airbag, tie up the axle to the chassis, and the job's a good one.
Jack's got here taking the wheel off, so we're just going to hang it on its chassis so we can lift the axle up and tow it away.
But there's a problem. The Turkish driver says he can't pay for the cost of the recovery.
I told him he's got to pay. No money, no money.
So instead of towing the vehicle back to the driver's depot, Jim has no option but to tow the truck back to Crouch's HQ until the payment is sorted.
So, if you don't want to pay, we tow it away. That's what Highways instructs us to do. That's what we do. So, in simple terms, if a driver refuses to pay, we're instructed by our contractor, Highways England, to pick up the vehicle, tow it away to a place of safety, and then we're instructed to impound the vehicle until they pay the bill.
But as Jim prepares the vehicle to be towed,
Jack!
he suddenly notices that the truck is leaning dangerously into traffic.
I've got a problem with this. Look at it.
Listening.
It's listing. There's no weight in the front mag, mate. On the offside. It's trying to pick it all up on one corner.
On this HGV, there are 3 airbags on the left side and 3 on the right, each supporting a wheel and taking an equal share of its 44-ton weight. Jack has removed the middle airbag with the punctured tyre, hoping the front and rear bags would take the vehicle's weight. But he suspects that the vehicle is leaning over because the existing airbags are faulty.
With the trailer suspension, you've got 6 airbags, and each on it's a stability control. So as it goes round a roundabout, it'll take air in and out the airbags as it goes round to stabilise it. If you take away one of the airbags, the system doesn't work anymore. So I got underneath and had a look.
With every passing minute next to busy motorway traffic, Jack is now under pressure to get the problem solved quickly. Luckily, he's a man with a plan. He decides to inflate the front and rear airbags to take some of the truck's weight, while Jim extends his underlift to continue preparing the vehicle for towing. But then Jack makes a shocking discovery.
Front airbag's blown. Been blown a while. It's been kinked over. He's known about it. So the front, it's only been running on the mid and rear bags.
It appears that the front airbag hasn't been working for some time. Without it, the vehicle's weight is distributed unevenly, which means it could easily tip over onto its side at any time.
It turned out that on the same side as we disconnected an airbag, the airbag in front of it was disconnected as well. So that airbag is no longer in use. So that means out of the 6 airbags, we've got 3 aside, there was only 1 airbag on this side of the truck, and there's 25 ton on the trailer, load.
What was down as a straightforward tyre puncture has turned into a much more serious problem. Now both Jim and Jack must work quickly to stop this 44-ton HGV from crashing down into oncoming traffic. Coming up, problems go from bad to worse for Jack and Jim as the stranded HGV turns into a ticking time bomb.
Fucking hell. How heavy's this? Kilos.
The airbag shifted off the pedestal. If I was still under there, it would have just splattered my head.
And a broken down, fully loaded fuel tanker put Sean under pressure.
Time to get the heart rate going.
On the M6, recovery op Jim Howard and mechanic Jack Watson are battling to recover a stranded HGV after it suffered a puncture and shredded tyre.
Probably a bit of his tyre, that.
After further investigation, Jack discovered the vehicle was operating with only 5 of its 6 legally required airbags. And the driver claimed he couldn't pay for the recovery.
So, if you don't want to pay, we tow it away. That's what highways instruct us to do. That's what we do.
Now Jack and Jim need to find a solution, or the HGV won't be going anywhere. With no new airbags to hand, Jack has to work out a way to make the truck stable enough to tow back. He's got to meticulously plan where to position the 2 remaining airbags.
The pressure's high because you've got the highways agency that are stood behind. I was under the instruction to get it mobile and get it off the motorway by any means.
Jack's plan is to replace the damaged front airbag with the one he initially removed with the damaged tyre. This should reduce the risk of the HGV leaning to one side. But the discovery that the vehicle has been driven for months in an extremely dangerous condition is playing on Jim's mind.
From what we've seen, I'd suggest he knows he's running naughty, he knows he's illegal, he knows he's got a problem.
It's very dangerous to be running around with less airbags than what you should have. It really is. I've genuinely got no time for people who are happy to run around dangerously like that.
It's one out.
The driver might have been at the helm of a potentially lethal weapon, but it's now up to Jim and Jack to make sure it doesn't roll over during towing. Jack removes the damaged airbag and puts the working middle airbag in its place, so the weight of the HGV is more evenly distributed. But it's a very tight squeeze.
It's just ridiculous, really, to fix it on the side of the road. It's a pain in the arse.
I disconnected the airbag on the blown-out wheel, and I knew that bag was good, so I put the new bag on the front suspension and put some new bolts in, so at least we had 2 airbags on that side to give it the stability just to get it off.
Replacing an airbag next to busy motorway traffic takes a lot of guts. But Jim is confident Jack is the man for the job.
For the day in paradise.
That's Jack, look at him, he's live. He's like a whippet. He's underneath that thing in the blink of an heartbeat. Listen to him. You can hear the gun working from here. He's all over it.
With 2 working airbags in place,
Just go to the airlines and that now.
the crew makes its final preparations. But Jim notices the HGV is still leaning dangerously to the right.
Like me.
If they move it now, there's a chance it could tip over and cause a major accident.
Fucking hell. How heavy's this? Kilos. We ain't done. We are not done.
Jim suspects the vehicle's load is much more than the 25 tons the driver initially claimed it to be.
Listed to the right slightly because of the weight, all the weight. Because we haven't got a full set of airbags on there to level the axles off. Which is all the weight sort of hanging through that one corner, if you will.
Jack takes a closer look at the airbag he's just replaced. But then as he moves away, disaster strikes as the airbag suddenly explodes.
The airbag shifted off the pedestal, hit the ground, and just kept inflating. There's a lot of pressure in that bag. If I was still under there, and it would have just splattered my head if I was under it.
With a second airbag out of action, the likelihood of getting the 60-ton HGV off the hard shoulder now looks like an impossible task.
Once the second airbag blew, we quite literally thought, oh, here we go. This is going to get complicated now. This is going to end badly.
Jack and Jim need to think of a solution fast. There's only one thing for it. The team have to order in replacement kit in a last-ditch attempt to save the HGV.
Need a couple of airbags.
Yeah.
As well as new airbags, Jim decides to order a new tyre to replace the one that suffered a puncture.
We're on the phone now to see about a realistic timescale and update for an airbag.
I made the decision that we'll have the tyre fitted there, so just give me a little bit of extra support on the ground. Just give me a little bit more stability when I'm towing the vehicle.
It's not good news. There's no chance of getting new airbags in time. But Jack thinks he may have a temporary solution, just to get the vehicle off the hard shoulder and out of harm's way.
Taking the old bottom out of this piece of shit, managed to shave this off, clean 2 threads up, we might be able to use this base to get him off the road. Let's see.
Using components from both damaged airbags, Jack builds a recycled version in the hope it will hold together for the short journey back to the company's depot. Jack starts to fix it onto the middle axle. But just then, the new tyre arrives. But the rim, the metal ring the tyre sits on, is the wrong size.
Is it the right tyre for the rim, though? It's the right tyre, just the wrong rim.
Apparently there wasn't a wheel for this truck in the country because it's a Turkish trailer, so we couldn't get hold of one.
What was already a complicated job has suddenly got a whole lot worse. The crew's only option is to try the new tyre on the old rim and hope it fits. But first, the tyre fitter Callum needs to pump air in to seal the tyre to the rim.
What he's doing is putting it into a bag, so if the tyre comes off the rim, the bag will hold it, so it's like a safety device to catch the tyre.
Without the bag, high-pressure air going into the tyre could cause it to fly off and hit traffic, or hurt or fatally injure the crew. Callum uses what's known as a cheater to seal the tyre to the old rim.
What it does, you fire a burst of air inside the rim and it makes the tyre explode on the rim quickly. He shoots, he scores! Good man, hole in one.
The tyre will eventually get a new rim, but for now, thanks to the team's ingenuity, it's sealed enough to make the 20-minute journey back to Crouch's depot. And Jim reminds the reluctant driver that the bill still needs to be paid.
You're coming with me. Yeah. Bill. Still a bill.
After almost 3 hours on a very difficult job, Jim and Jack head back to the depot.
That's that. Job done. Let's get out of here.
In terms of unpredictability, that job was very unpredictable. It really was. Jack dealt with the situation perfectly. And he's a good lad. He is a grafter. Jack escorted me back to the yard. The driver didn't seem massively keen on paying, but he paid up in the end when he realised he wasn't getting it back, so it's a job well done, to be honest.
Stretching 117 miles around London, the M25 is the second largest orbital road in Europe, with an average 200,000 vehicles using it each day. It's lunchtime rush hour, and Lantern recovery agent Sean Byrne is on the northern stretch on the way to his first job of the day.
Every day's different, every day's a challenge. You've also got to be a certain kind of person to do this job. Like all record drivers will tell you, are all slightly nuts, because you can earn more money driving other things.
Ex-Army driver Sean has clocked up almost 500,000 miles recovering stranded vehicles up and down the country. And today is no different.
It looks like we've got a fuel tanker on the M25.
A fully loaded tanker carrying 36,000 litres of fuel has broken down on a live lane. The casualty vehicle's load is flammable and could explode into flames if hit by another vehicle. It's a whopper of a recovery job, and Sean needs to get there at lightning speed.
You're always chasing your arse in this job, constantly. There's always ETAs to meet, but if anybody's ever been around the M25 will know you're in the hands of the gods.
Sean is 20 minutes away from the scene.
Oh, let me out, Mr. Davies Turner. Good man.
And doing his level best to battle his way through the traffic. Thankfully, he's at the helm of a beast of a recovery truck. A 20-ton G93 Pioneer axle heavy recovery vehicle with the mechanical muscle capable of lifting 12 tons.
Believe it or not, this is the smallest one on our fleet. Also, it can lift the most weight. And when I came, it was the only one available, believe it or not, so I kept it. You're lucky, I don't normally talk this much without a coffee. There's our man.
Sean spots the broken down tanker parked in an SOS bay on a stretch of smart motorway.
On these new motorways, they don't have a hard shoulder. As you can see, it's level lanes, so they have SOS bays.
Sean has to turn around to get on the other side of the carriageway. But there's a problem. To tow the tanker away, he needs to park his truck in front of the damaged vehicle. But there's no space left in the SOS bay. Sean needs Highways England to close the live lane before he can do the recovery.
The joys of breaking down on the M25.
For now, the closest he can get to the tanker is stopping at a junction slip road half a mile from the scene.
It's not ideal, but it'll do. Get out of the way, so we'll make a quick phone call.
Every minute the tanker's flammable load sits motionless in the SOS bay increases the chances of a catastrophic collision. Sean calls Highways England.
Hi there, Sean from Lantern Recovery. I've just seen him, he's in the SOS bay, but he's right at the front of it, so I'm going to need lane 1 closed.
15 minutes later, Highways England gives Sean the green light.
OK, brilliant. I'll start heading down now. Cheers, chap. Bye.
Sean's arrival is a welcome relief to driver Mark.
You do sometimes get the feeling you're going to be stuck here all day. Lorry decided to back up on its way down the hill, and apparently it's been diagnosed as a broken wire. Well, I've got a full load of diesel and unleaded petrol going to High Wycombe. Obviously that's not going to happen now. It'll be going back to Thurrock to be fixed.
To help him, Highways England brings 3 lanes of lunchtime rush hour traffic to a halt and cordons off the area to give Sean enough space to position his truck in front of the tanker.
The moment I turn on scene, it's my responsibility. I'm in charge. At the end of the day, it's my responsibility to make sure that everything's done correctly and professionally.
With the lanes free of moving traffic, Sean moves his truck.
Right, let's get on with it then. Sat around for long enough to do some work.
Highways England reopens the motorway's lanes to get traffic moving again. In the meantime, Sean's mission is to get the tanker and its flammable fuel out of the SOS bay fast.
The longer you're on the motorway with a dangerous load, the higher the chances are that something bad's going to happen. The quicker you're gone, the less chance you've got of being involved in a major incident.
First things first. Sean releases his truck's tow bar, otherwise known as an underlift, the main bit of kit needed to tow a heavy goods vehicle. But this tanker is weighing in at a mammoth 44 tons.
Yeah, we've got 36,000 litres of mixed stock. It's going to be heavy. You're used to that. There's a bit of weight in the old girl. She's fully loaded, so she's going to be heavy. Can take a bit of getting going. Same to get the heart rate going.
Thankfully, the underlift is capable of hauling up a cool 12 tons. More than enough to raise the front end of the stationary Arctic. Once the tanker is lifted, Sean places steel coach stands below its wheels to give him enough height to get his underlift chained to the vehicle's front axle.
Looking for an air point.
Next, to disable the brakes on the mammoth tanker, Sean connects a red airline to the vehicle.
If it runs out of air, the brakes will automatically come on. So, brakes come on, we won't be going very far. Stick my yellow airline on. This one applies the brakes, so when I apply the brake in the wrecker, it'll be braking the trailer as well. Just to help us out, otherwise there's a bit of weight to be pushing us down the road.
But with a hazardous substance meters from motorway traffic, Sean has to be on his A game.
You always need to keep cool and calm, sort of thing, when you're on these jobs. Never trust anything on the motorway. The moment you think you've got it, or the moment you think, yeah, I'm 100% sure, they come back and they bite you in the arse. 6 on the lights on We're plugging my lights into the trailer's lights.
After attaching a light board to the vehicle to show other drivers when he's braking and indicating,
We are good to go.
Sean is ready to move the tanker away from the scene.
Right, we'll let the highways know, we'll be off. Destination Titan Truck Park.
After 30 minutes on the job, Sean has successfully removed the vehicle and its dangerous load out of harm's way. And this stretch of the M25 is back in full flow.
When you're actually doing the job, it's seriously stressful because there's so much that can go wrong. So much. And you do actually have people's lives in your hands. It is very dangerous. But once it's done, once everything's finished, that's when you get the buzz. That's when it's, wow, massive sense of accomplishment, like massive.
Coming up, a tipped HGV and its spilt rolls of fabric.
Fucking hell, yeah. I've done 100 already.
Force Steve to flex his muscles. And when a packed car transporter breaks down on a smart section of motorway,
He's nearly hit us. He has proper slammed the brakes on.
Mary finds herself in the line of fire.
Horrible sound of screeching brakes and a cloud of brake smoke coming up, and it whistled past my wing mirror. Not a great moment.
In Lincolnshire, Crouch Operations Manager Steve Kelly is stuck into a beast of a job.
We'll take him out nice and gently.
A 10-ton truck has tipped over, spilling heavy rolls of fabric onto the road. The driver survived unharmed, but the road will remain closed until both vehicle and cargo are cleared away. A complicated recovery that requires Steve's years of experience.
Lift that leg up a bit.
Steve has spent a quarter of a century in the business and trains many of the company's recovery rookies. But today, he's on the front line, and it looks like this job could get very messy.
Customers called us to their vehicle. They've come around this corner and it's rolled over. Whether the load's shifted or something like that, we're not sure. In the first assessment, the vehicle had gone over and slid into the curbs. So when we've got no injuries or anything like that, our main priority is getting the road open as quickly as possible.
To help him get the job done, he's called in the assistance of an ace card in the company's fleet. A 14-ton, 8-wheeler DAF CF85 heavy recovery truck, capable of winching 9 tons. First, Steve has to get the HGV back on its wheels, so the crew extends the truck's 2 steel legs to give it greater stability when it starts to pull. Then Steve hooks his 55-metre-long steel wire winch cable onto the vehicle's front axle. Finally, the crew attaches a pulley, also known as a snatch block, to control the vehicle's direction of travel. But not before drafting in a crane to help pick up the HGV by its back end.
You got me knife?
But there's a problem. Some heavy rolls of fabric are still in the vehicle, weighing it down and making it much harder to winch. So Steve has to cut the HGV's side curtain to let them fall out once the crew start to pull the vehicle onto its wheels.
You can do further damage to the vehicle if you don't cut the curtain. So the idea is cut the curtain, which is already damaged anyway, and then upright the vehicle so you've done no further damage to the vehicle in the uprighting procedure.
With the curtain cut, both recovery trucks start to winch. Mission successful, but the HGV's framework is badly damaged.
The
body's in quite a bad condition. I've been round and inspected it. It's badly compromised.
The damaged frame means there's a real risk that parts of the truck's panelling could come loose during towing and fall into moving traffic, harming motorists and pedestrians. But that's not the only danger Steve and his crew are facing. The HGV has spilt diesel all over the road. If it spills onto the drains, it could contaminate the water system. And Steve has another worry.
The main problem is slippery surface, and if you leave the diesel down on the road too long, then it can soak into the tarmac and it can render the road covering useless. If that diesel spill isn't cleared up quickly enough, then once it soaks in, when the next time it rains, it brings the diesel back up to the surface again. So there's all sorts of issues further down the line if we don't get the diesel sorted quickly.
Crew member Marcus covers the diesel with oil-absorbent granules to stop it in its tracks, while Matt secures the damaged vehicle onto the recovery truck's underlift. Disaster averted, Marcus releases the truck's brakes to prepare it for towing. But the job is far from over. To get the truck back on its feet, Steve had to cut the curtain and free the load. Now he's got a mountain of fabric he needs to shift fast. So he moves the wreckage out of the way.
Go nice and gentle. All right then, we'll bring yours in.
To make space for a replacement truck.
That's it, straight back at that. I must admit, when we're doing any of these jobs, we're never looking forward to the handball, but it needs doing. It's part of the job, so we'll get stuck in and we'll get this lot shifted.
Steve and his crew have to roll up their sleeves and work up a sweat.
Rolls of fabric in it, I thought it was carpet. It's a job to know which one to grab, isn't it? So when my missus buys a dress in a few months' time that stinks of diesel, I know where it's come from. I can't remember exactly how many were there, but I do know what, once we'd started moving a few, you realise there was more than we thought there was. More than I care to remember. Fucking hell, yeah. I've done 100 already. No, I said I've done 100 already. Yeah, there's been many a job that, you know, you wake up the next morning and you think, Christ, I'm not getting any younger, and you can certainly feel the aches and pains from the night before. You can have all the fancy trucks in the world, but there comes a time when sometimes you just need to use your own muscle power, really. Sometimes you just need to get stuck in and pick this stuff up by hand.
With the cargo safely on the replacement truck, Matt and Marcus use straps to secure the HGV's weakened frame before they can tow it away.
Basically, obviously, because it's been rolled over, it's just, I broke the roof off and bent the back down, so basically just putting straps around to get a bit more stability and rigidness. So basically, it's a bit more safer to recover.
With the wreckage strapped up, Marcus fixes the tail light board onto the vehicle.
We're just putting, obviously, a tail light board on it so everyone can see the brake lights and indicators of what I'm doing.
After an hour winching and heaving, it's another road cleared for Steve and the crew. Over 100 miles south on the M25, Lantern Recovery Op Mary Newham is on the way to her next job.
Sometimes you get jobs done when you're thinking, oh Lord, this is just going to be a nightmare, it will be easy. The ones that you always think will be the easy ones are the ones that will give you the hassle.
Ex-petrol station owner Mary has recovered thousands of HGVs up and down the country, and no job is the same.
Yeah, I've been doing the job 10 years now, loving every minute of it. You never know what you're going to.
Today, Mary's been called to the job of her dreams.
We've got a 5-car transporter to pick up. I love doing car transporters. Love doing them. They're just, you know, some people it's their nemesis. I enjoy it because it is a challenge.
Luckily for Mary, a car transporter fully loaded with 5 vehicles has broken down at a service station on the M25. To help on her mission is her 32-ton Volvo FH heavy recovery vehicle, capable of towing 72 tons.
This one will be going up to Colville in Leicestershire.
Mary has to tow the car transporter back to its depot, 130 kilometres away. But first, she has to find it. And so far, she can't see the wood for the trees.
You always think services will be the easy one, but they're not. You drive around and you're like, just looking for a lorry in a lorry park. 3 car transporters. This is that one.
Having spotted the casualty vehicle, Mary backs up her recovery truck to get the broken down beast and its expensive cargo ready for towing. Mary then gets the lowdown from the driver as to what's happened.
I woke up this morning and as I got out of the cab to do the walk round check, there's all water everywhere and it's green water.
It turns out the coolant has been leaking from the engine overnight. Now the 18-ton transporter needs to be towed back to its depot in Colville fast to be fixed. So Mary wastes no time. First, she releases her tow bar.
Just lowering the underlift now. I've got my equipment out and put it where I need it to start loading.
The underlift will eventually hook on to the car transporter's front axle. But first, Mary needs space to get beneath the vehicle's undercarriage. So she uses the underlift to raise it off the ground and sit it on 2 coach stands. In the recovery world, this whole process is known as a pre-lift.
Put the wheel stands under here now, give us that extra height to be able to attach the forks onto the T-head and actually put them around the axle. The pre-lift there is just for gaining height to be able to work under it.
With the massive vehicle safely raised, Mary then secures it with heavy chains. But working under 18 tons of metal is a risky job.
We always keep these wheel stands under the wheels while we're working under the vehicle so that if the boom did fail in any way, you're not going to get trapped, or hopefully you're not going to get trapped under there and injured. And you always try and keep your body as low as you can while you're under there. Did happen to my partner once. He said nothing can prepare you for it, there's no warning, and the bang is almighty where a big lump of metal hits the ground. Luckily he'd done everything he should have done and wasn't injured. Now that we've actually got it lifted and we've got the chains round, so we've got hold of it, we can now let the handbrake off.
Now that the transporter's handbrake is released, Mary can use the underlift to pull the car transporter and its valuable cargo towards her recovery truck.
The further you have it into your lorry, the easier it is for towing, because obviously where we're lifting it here, basically on a stick at the back of the truck, the further out that is, the more weight it's going to take off of your front wheels. What you've got to be looking at is there's nothing on the top of my lorry that will foul with the car that's overhanging. So luckily this one's quite high. You've got to account that the whole thing will be bouncing, so that will come up and down as we're going along. But that's good for this one. This will tow nicely.
All Mary has to do now is set up her light board on the back of the car transporter to warn other drivers of her manoeuvres on the road. And the job's done.
Right, that's all loaded on now, so we're ready to set off for Colville.
But Mary's dream job is just about to turn into a nightmare. Just over half an hour into the journey,
oh my days.
Her recovery truck comes to a grinding halt on a live lane of smart motorway.
What's happening? I'm not quite sure. We just lost all our power. When I first felt it, it initially felt just like a slight loss in power. You're straight away looking at the gauges, you know, what's happening here. But quite quickly it turned into, hang on, no, we're pulling back, I know what this is. The casualties brakes are coming on.
It seems that the brakes on the car transporter have mysteriously come on. And with no hard shoulder available, both vehicles and crew are at the mercy of fast oncoming traffic.
It is scary. From the minute you're coming to a halt and the minute you're pressing your hazards and beacons on, you know you're a hazard to other drivers. you're in a really precarious place. You know, something hits you, it's not going to be nice. And it's definitely not going to be nice for the person that hits you. OK, I'm going to have to make a common phone call here. Let's see, do we ring First Highways, I think. Do we know where we are? Do you see any markers?
Mary needs Highways England to close a lane and divert the traffic.
My first port of call is going to have to be Highways and get a red X in place as quickly as we can and try and notify, you know, the oncoming motorists that there's something ahead and stop an accident occurring.
But then a lorry gets dangerously close.
He's nearly hit us.
Yeah, he's smoking a bit.
He has proper slammed the brakes on. Don't know how the lorry didn't. This lorry, it managed to get round us and past us, but I really don't quite know how. You hear the horrible sound of screeching brakes and a cloud of brake smoke coming up, and it whistled past my wing mirror. Yeah, not a great moment.
Her valuable cargo and passenger are in a dangerously precarious position, and the chances of a collision are increasing by the second. Mary needs to find out what caused the breakdown and fix it first.
Stop where we were in lane 1, live running lane. At that point in time, no red X's, nothing fending us, and there we were stranded in lane 1 of a smart motorway. Not very smart.
Coming up, Mary sheds light on the problem.
The air pressure's dropping in this.
But she and her passenger are still in grave danger.
Something else. It's horrible sitting there watching them coming at
you. On a smart motorway section of the M25 in Hertfordshire, recovery op Mary was towing a loaded 5-vehicle car transporter when disaster struck.
I'm not quite sure, we just lost all our power.
Both vehicles suddenly and mysteriously drew to a halt on a live lane, leaving them at the mercy of fast-moving traffic.
He's nearly hit us. He has proper slammed the brakes on. I actually don't know how the lorry didn't. This lorry, it managed to get round us and past us, but I really don't quite know how. You hear the horrible sound of screeching brakes and a cloud of brake smoke coming up, and it whistled past my wing mirror.
Now, with the clock ticking, Mary needs to enlist the help of the stranded driver.
Can I give you the phone?
You can, yeah.
Mary needs to get out of the truck and diagnose the problem as soon as she can. So she asks him to get Highways England's help immediately.
If you could try and get Highways out.
Hello.
The guy was a real sensible guy. I quickly ran it through with him. I said, look, I'm going to dial Highways, explain to them what the issue is and that we need a red X urgently.
We're in a recovery truck that's broken down. Yeah. We're in the recovery truck. I'm not the driver, and we've just broken down on the M25.
While the driver speaks to Highways England,
It's a Volvo FH with lanterns all over it.
Mary thinks she's found the root of the problem. An air split in one of the air pipes is causing the loss of pressure.
The air pressure's dropping in this. When the air pressure starts dropping and it brings the brakes on. It's not my truck, it's the brakes that started binding on the one we're towing.
The transporter's brakes need a constant supply of air to keep them released. But a dip in air pressure means they've locked.
The reason the casualty vehicle came to a standstill was the brakes locked on because of a drop in air pressure.
Mary seals the pipe enough to restore air pressure and get them off the side of the road as quickly as possible.
I can hear it filling, so hopefully we're going to get back in and get it moving if we can now. The fact that I could hear the tank filling, you know then it was empty, so hopefully this is going to be enough to release the brakes again and get you moving, even if it's only a short way, and get you to somewhere safe.
After giving it another go, the truck is still not moving. But Mary isn't one to give up easily.
Something else. It's horrible sitting there watching them coming at you. They got a red X on.
But there's some good news. Highways England has diverted traffic away from Mary and her cargo by activating a red X on the lane sign overhead. And minutes later, Mary thinks she's solved the problem.
It was a Volvo and it has what they call a bronze brake, so once all the air drops, that locks on in the cab, and the only thing you can do, you've got to enter the cab to re-release it. And so I'm having to sort of dive round to the sort of running side of the motorway and try and eke the door open slightly wide enough to get my big body in it to be able to reach the bronze brake and knock it off. Oh yes, that's what we wanted to do. Bring them and say stand down, we've got it moving.
With the problem solved, the driver calls Highways England to tell them they can now remove the red X.
My name's Andy. I'm just speaking for the driver because she's driving, obviously. We've got it moving again, so everything's okay. It's all clear now, yeah. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thanks to her skills and cool head, Mary and her passenger are now back on the road.
It's just a big sigh of relief of thinking, you know, I don't need any more dramas, that was enough for today.
Next time, a rollover causes traffic chaos.
It just can't be done safely without a closure.
As Steve and his team battle to upright a fallen digger.
Just keep pulling, Pat.
Rory gets his hands dirty
Not exactly in perfect condition, is it?
to make a dangerous wreck safe.
It's going to fly off, go through someone's windscreen.
And Lee and Richard try to get the measure of a broken farm trailer.
Top bell's going to have to come off then. Hey!